Welcome to English Snap Lab, where mastering English is as easy as a snap. One of the best ways to learn a language is through stories. They are emotional, interesting, and easy for our brains to remember. In this series, I tell famous stories from world literature in slow, clear, and simple English to help you understand more easily. While you listen, you will hear many useful English words and expressions. Today's story is a beautiful tale of sacrifice by O. Henry, The Last Leaf. This story is perfect for practicing medical and health vocabulary, words like pneumonia, recover, and hope, and essential art vocabulary. Before we begin, please take a second to give this video a thumbs up. Let's begin. Part 1. The Invisible Stranger. In a small district west of Washington Square, the streets are crazy and broken into small strips called places. This area was full of artists who came to find north windows, 18th century gables, and low rents. Among them were Sue and Johnsy, two young artists who shared a studio at the top of a 3-story brick house. A studio is a room where an artist works. They had met at a restaurant and discovered they had the same tastes in art, chicory salad, and bishop sleeves. However, in November, a cold, unseen stranger moved through the city. The doctors called this stranger pneumonia. Pneumonia is a serious infection of the lungs that makes it very difficult to breathe. It touched Johnsy with its icy fingers, and she lay thin and motionless on her painted iron bed, looking through the small window at the blank side of the next brick house. Part 2. The Will to Live. One morning, the doctor spoke to Sue in the hallway. He told her that Johnsy had one chance in, let us say, 10. He explained that her chance depended on her desire to live. When a patient begins to count the carriages at their funeral, the doctor said, he subtracts 50% from the curative power of medicines. He asked if Johnsy had anything on her mind, like a man or a career. Sue said she wanted to paint the Bay of Naples one day. The doctor shook his head. He said that if Sue could get her to ask a question about the new winter styles in coat sleeves, he would promise a 1 in 5 chance for her to recover. To recover means to become healthy again after an illness. But Johnsy was not trying to recover. She was lying in bed, watching the leaves fall from an old ivy vine on the brick wall outside. She whispered that when the last leaf fell, she must go too. She had lost all hope. Hope is the feeling of wanting something to happen and thinking that it could happen. Part 3. The Old Master. Sue went downstairs to visit old Behrman, a painter who lived on the ground floor. Behrman was a failure in art. For 40 years, he had handled the brush without ever painting a masterpiece. A masterpiece is a work of outstanding skill, or the greatest work of an artist. He always talked of his coming masterpiece, but he spent his time drinking and serving as a model for the young artists in the colony. A model is a person who poses for art. Sue told Behrman about Johnsy's delusion. A delusion is a false belief that is held even when there is evidence that it is not true. She told him that Johnsy believed she would die when the last leaf fell. Behrman was angry. He shouted that it was foolish for someone to die because of leaves falling from a vine. He looked at the cold rain and wind outside, and though he said nothing, he felt a deep sympathy for the young girl upstairs. Part 4. The Painted Hope. The next morning, after a night of heavy rain and a fierce gale, a very strong wind, Johnsy asked Sue to open the window. She was sure the last leaf had fallen. But to their surprise, one ivy leaf was still hanging on the vine. It was dark green near the stem, but its edges were yellow with age. "It is the last one," said Johnsy. "It will fall today, and I shall go too." She had lost all hope. Again, hope is the feeling of wanting something to happen and thinking that it could happen. Part 5. Behrman's Masterpiece. The janitor had found Behrman in his room, helpless with pain. His shoes and clothing were wet through and icy cold. They found a lantern, a ladder, and some scattered brushes. They also found a palette with green and yellow colors mixed on it. Sue looked out the window at the last leaf. She asked Johnsy if she wondered why it never fluttered or moved when the wind blew. "Darling," said Sue, "it's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it there the night that the last leaf fell." In today's story, we learned that sometimes hope can be found in a work of art. Behrman never painted a famous picture for a gallery, but he painted a leaf that saved a life. Learning summary: English Snap Lab. In this lesson, we focused on medical and health vocabulary. Pneumonia, a lung infection. Recover, to get well again. Hope, the belief that things will get better. Delusion, a false belief or idea. Art vocabulary: studio, an artist's workroom. Masterpiece, an artist's best work. Model, a person who poses for art. Palette, a board for mixing paints. Your homework: what is something that gives you hope when you are feeling down? Use the word hope or recover in the comments below. Thank you for watching English Snap Lab. If you were moved by Behrman's sacrifice, please subscribe and share. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next story.